And this, thank you. this is a even shorter little poem, little love poem called Carrie, which is Carry, not the name of the high school blood-soaked freak-out horror movie girl, but just the verb carry. I want to carry you, and for you to carry me, the way voices are said to carry over water. Just this morning on the shore, I could hear two people talking quietly in a rowboat on the far side of the lake. They were talking about fishing. Then one changed the subject, and I swear they began talking about you. And this, thank you. And this is also short-ish, and it's just a kind of meditation on a time of day. It's called In the Evening. The heads of roses begin to droop. The bee who has been hauling his gold all day finds a hexagon in which to rest. In the sky, traces of clouds, the last few darting birds, and watercolors on the horizon. The white cat sits facing a wall. The horse in the field is asleep on its feet. I light a candle on the wood table. I take another sip of wine. I pick up an onion and a knife. And the past and the future, just an only child with two different masks. Thank you so much. I mentioned, I assume people on the higher levels are also applauding, but we'll never really know. Probably applauding even louder than, But this next poem was the result of just stumbling across a single word and not so much a sentence in a review. And the beginning of the poem goes to great lengths to clarify that. And the poem is called The Lanyard. The other day, as I was ricocheting slowly off the blue walls of this room, bouncing from typewriter to piano, from bookshelf to an envelope lying on the floor, I found myself in the L section of the dictionary, where my eyes fell upon the word lanyard. No cookie, nibbled by a French novelist, could send one more suddenly into the past. The past where I sat at a workbench at a camp by a deep Adirondack lake, learning how to braid thin plastic strips into a lanyard, a gift for my mother. I had never seen anyone use a lanyard or wear one, if that's what you did with them. But that did not keep me from crossing strand over strand again and again until I had made a boxy red and white lanyard for my mother. She gave me life and milk from her breasts, and I gave her a lanyard. She nursed me in many a sick room, lifted teaspoons of medicine to my lips, set cold face cloths on my forehead, then led me out into the airy light and taught me to walk and swim, and I in turn presented her with a lanyard. Here are thousands of meals, she said, and here is clothing and a good education. And here is your lanyard, I replied, which I made with a little help from a counselor. Here is a breathing body and a beating heart, strong legs, bones, and teeth, and two clear eyes to read the world, she whispered. And here, I said, is the lanyard I made at camp. And here, I wish to say to her now, is a smaller gift, not the archaic truth that you can never repay your mother, but the rueful admission that when she took the two-tone lanyard from my hands, I was as sure as a boy could be that this useless, worthless thing I wove out of boredom would be enough to make us even. Thank you. There's not much you can do for your mother at that age of your own, kind of ex nihilo. There's the potholder alternative, and I remember at camp that you had to begin that with a simple metal frame, a square frame, and I could never learn how to approach the frame. I would keep turning it in my hands, but I could never get the right purchase on it to begin. So that was deceptively simple. And then if you went to a fancy camp, you could make a ceramic thing. You could make a ceramic cup, but you didn't have the brains to put a handle on it. So that this was a thing of also a questionable utility for the grateful parent. And one mother confided in me that these handle-less cups are known as lanyard holders. These are in the inner circles of mothers. Well, let's read some poems from this, what used to be a new book. Well, a very simple poem. Poem was written almost in the same manner that you might just sketch something with a bit of pencil. It's called Love. The boy at the far end of the train car kept looking behind him as if he were afraid or expecting someone. And then she appeared in the glass door of the forward car, and he rose and opened the door and let her in, and she entered the car carrying a large black case in the unmistakable shape of a cello. She looked like an angel with a high forehead and somber eyes, and her hair was tied up behind her neck with a black bow. And because of all that, he seemed a little awkward in his happiness to see her, whereas she was simply there, perfectly existing as a creature with a soft face who played the cello. And the reason I am writing this on the back of a manila envelope now that they have left the train together is to tell you that when she turned to lift the large, delicate cello onto the overhead rack, I saw him looking up at her, and which he was doing the way the eyes of saints are painted when they are looking up at God, when he is doing something remarkable, something that identifies him as God. So that was kind of loving young lovers. Here's a poem about